Hello everybody and welcome to Tai Tales, a place where you'll find stories and fanfictions written and read to you by your host, me, Tai Tiger. Today we dive back into the Tai Tales Marvel and DC fanfiction universe. One universe where I've merged the likes of Marvel and DC all into one continuously ongoing universe with multiple stories, all contributing to the ongoing big plot of the universe. If you want to see all of the universe storylines taking place in continuity order, then please go check out the playlist labelled the TTMDFU, which is exactly where you'll find all the stories in order, exactly how they're meant to be listened to. That being said, let's dive into today's story. Red Lantern, Crimson Rage. Our Red Lantern Jordan had just met, or ran into, her old childhood friend Jack, someone who she hasn't seen in a very long time. And in this chapter, Jordan's going to be hanging out with Jack for a little bit, but something seems to be very odd about Jack, and this leaves her going off to a mission feeling a bit uneasy. So let's dive in with the Red Lantern Crimson Rage, Chapter 6, A Shade of Greed. Jordan walked into Jack's house. It had been 2 days since they had coffee, and Jordan had ran into Jack for the first time in several years. Jordan learned a lot over that time. Jack had moved away because of his father, ended up going into a foster system due to stealing a lot and getting into a lot of trouble. Turned out Jack was quite the master thief. Ended up in prison for a few years for attempted bank robberies quite a few times, and was released after Union Day.
Well, thanks for inviting me for lunch. Nice house, I guess.
Jordan said awkwardly.
Thanks. It was left for me when Mom and Dad died.
Jack replied. He started to slice bread and chop up some salad, getting it himself and Jordan some lunch.
It's a shame your dad was never around, but he was cool, and your mother was very sweet.
Jordan sighed.
Yeah, I guess. They had a lot of money when they died.
Jack said with a slight grin.
Is that all you care about, is money?
Jordan asked bluntly.
Come on, Jordan. Money is what holds society together. It keeps things in balance. Face it, money gives you the ability to have a home, a family, support, and best of all, fun.
Jack replied, his grin becoming a lot more malicious.
I suppose so.
Jordan said with an eye roll. Jack continued to make lunch, but as time went on, Jordan felt more uncomfortable in Jack's house. She excused herself from the table and went upstairs to find the bathroom. When she walked out of the bathroom, she walked past a door that was slightly open. She looked through it and found a whole bunch of collectibles, old silverware, boxes of jewellery, old books, action figures, comic books, all sorts of stuff that a collector would have in all forms of collectibles, all stored into one room.
Impressive. Is it not?
Jack said behind her, making Jordan jump.
Yeah, how did you get all this stuff?
Jordan asked, confused and a little freaked out as she started to adventure around the room.
I'm a collector, I guess.
Jack replied.
Oh my god, you stole this stuff, didn't you?
Jordan blurted.
Maybe.
Jack said, shrugging his shoulders with a small grin. Jordan rolled her eyes and stormed past Jack. She bolted down the stairs and headed out of the door. Jordan then left Jack's house and headed home. Jordan got to her apartment, got herself something to eat as she missed lunch at Jack's house. Then she walked over to the list which she placed on the fridge with a magnet. Some of the names had already been crossed off. She looked at the names on the list, then saw the name of Victor Ford, the bank manager who bought her parents' house when it was left to her, but due to mortgages and payment issues, the bank bought the house and sold it again to someone else, and it was all the manager's doing. Jordan was furious. She didn't know whether to call the police on Jack. They were friends, or she had hoped that they would have been friends, but Jack's attitude seemed to have left Jordan a bit on the edge. So going off the list and going to find someone to wreak revenge on seemed like the perfect idea.
Seems pretty fitting after today.
Jordan muttered as she placed her finger on Victor's name. She then left her apartment and headed for the bank. Luckily for Jordan, it was not far. She stormed into the bank and walked up to one of the workers.
Excuse me, I would love to speak to your manager, please.
Jordan asked nicely. The worker nodded and then stood up and walked away. A couple minutes went by. She arrived back with Victor Ford. Hello, my dear. How can I help you today? Victor asked her.
You bought a house in the Beverly Hills 2 years ago, 3 bedrooms, big yard.
Jordan explained. I'm sorry, my dear. We've bought a lot of houses over the last 2 years in that area, Victor said with a grin.
We spoke before. I tried to convince you not to sell the house.
Jordan explained. Oh, right, yes. You didn't want your house being sold because that's where your sister died or something, right? Why are you bringing this up now? The house is being lived in by a sweet old couple, Victor asked.
I just want to make sure you remember.
Jordan growled. Then Jordan held out her red lantern ring.
With blood and rage of crimson red, we fill men's souls with darkest dread, and twist your minds to pain and hate. We'll burn you all, that is your fate!
The red lantern floated up as everyone started running out of the building in fear. Then Victor Ford, the bank manager, dropped to his knees. Please, no. It was just my job. Please, Victor pleaded. The red lantern aimed her ring and a clamp construct formed around Victor's neck. Chains formed and connected the clamp to the floor, holding Victor in place. He could not move.
Now I'm gonna remove your spine.
The red lantern barked. She tightened the grip on the clamp and Victor started to suffocate. His entire body started wriggling. Then, just as he was about to pass out, the red lantern clenched her fist and raised it up into the air. The clamp moved up, ripping Jordan's head clean off, pulling his spinal cord up with it. Blood started pouring everywhere as his body fell limp. The red lantern made the head float up towards her. Then she grinned devilishly. She then clenched her fist and a hand construct formed around the head and crushed the head like a grape. She then floated down and landed on the ground. Suddenly 2 police officers burst in and aimed their pistols at the red lantern. Hands up, glue stick, one barked. Nice and easy now, the other growled. They both spotted the dead body on the floor and both officers became panicked.
Oh, officers, you might want to leave now. Or else.
The red lantern threatened with some fury in her voice. This is your last warning. Hands up, the first officer barked again. The red lantern stood there with a blank expression. Then both officers pulled their triggers and bullets flew at the red lantern. She raised her hand and made a shield, the bullets bouncing off of it. She then made an assault rifle construct of her own, aimed at the officers.
My turn, suckers.
She growled, then she pulled the trigger. Her bullet constructs flew through the air and hit the officers, their uniforms filling with blood as they both dropped to the floor dead. She made her construct disappear. Then she turned to see a man stood in the doorway as he started clapping. It was Jack.
That was amazing.
He cheered. The red lantern stood there in shock.
You know, I heard there were other lanterns. The green one left Earth, and apparently there was a red lantern. Who knew it was good old Jordan?
Jack grinned.
How did you know?
The red lantern asked, confused and concerned.
I saw the ring on your finger. It's like mine, but a different color.
Jack growled.
What do you mean, like yours?
The red lantern asked, with a bark in her voice.
Oh, sweet Jordan. You're not the only one who bears the burden of the lantern ring, after all.
Jack said with a devil-like grasp. He then pulled out his chain around his neck and from under his shirt, and hanging from it was the orange lantern ring.
What the hell?
The red lantern snapped.
Yes, my dear Jordan, you complain about my collection, my greed, but it fueled me. It lead me to greatness and lead me to this.
Jack growled. Then he yanked the ring off and slid it onto his finger. Then his entire body was engulfed in orange light. His suit was all orange with black patterns under his arms and inner thighs. His entire head was hidden in an orange construct helmet, and it was slick and all smooth.
Really? Greed? That is the path of life you want.
The red lantern barked.
I asked the same question about you. Rage is not an easy path.
The Orange Lantern chuckled insanely. The Red Lantern aimed her ring and an energy blast fired from the ring, but the Orange Lantern with a wave of his hand absorbed the energy blast. The Red Lantern stood there in shock.
Another thing I am greedy for is knowledge. I know exactly how my ring works.
The Orange Lantern chuckled. He aimed his ring at the two dead officers, and two chains rippled from the ring and latched onto the two corpses. Then, with a quick pull, he pulled the energy from their lifeless bodies, and two lantern constructs formed in front of him. The two police officers stood before him. Both the construct aimed their pistols and started firing on the Red Lantern. She aimed her ring and made a shield once more, blocking the bullets. She then made a buzzsaw and threw it at the police officers, the buzzsaw cutting through the police constructs in half. Then the Red Lantern jumped up and slammed down on the Orange Lantern. He jumped back and dodged the attack. He then swung his fist, the Red Lantern blocking it. She then jabbed him in the chest. He retaliated with a knee in the stomach. The Red Lantern made a knife construct, and the Orange Lantern made a knuckle duster construct. The Red Lantern jabbed her knife. The Orange Lantern pushed her hand away, then threw a punch and hit her straight in the nose. He then punched her in the chest, making her stagger back. He threw a third punch, but this time she caught his wrist, then swiped her blade, catching his stomach. She then swiped the blade, which hit his helmet. He then threw his fist once more. She jabbed her knife. Her knife slid into his stomach. His fist smashed into her face. The Red Lantern fell back and crashed onto the floor. With a hard thud, the Orange Lantern staggered back and fell against the wall. He grabbed the knife construct. He crushed it into his hands and absorbed the energy. Blood started pouring out of him. He then walked up to the Red Lantern, clenching onto his wound. She laid there dazed and slightly fuzzy. Her head pounded, her ears were ringing.
You're a feisty one, aren't you?
The Orange Lantern growled. Then, before she could reply, a blood portal opened below her, and she fell through it, the portal closing instantly, leaving the Orange Lantern alone in the bank. The Red Lantern fell out of the blood portal, landing next to Atrocitus, her suit vanishing as she stood.
Thanks for the save,
Jordan muttered. No need to thank me, Earthworm. I know how it feels to go toe-to-toe with an Orange Lantern. Atrocitus grunted.
Were you aware of the other lantern rings being activated?
Jordan asked as she sat down uncomfortably due to her new bruises. Yes, I have recently aware of the activation of the Orange Lantern. A few Green Lanterns too. There's a green one on Earth, and a one on a planet called Xandar. The other lanterns have yet to reveal themselves, Atrocitus explained.
I know the Orange Lantern. He was a childhood friend of mine.
Jordan admitted. Keep him close, or kill him. One or the other. Or else he'll be a distraction to our mission, Atrocitus commanded. Jordan just rolled her eyes at him, then she looked out of the cave and glanced over the beautiful sunset. She sat there and pondered about Jack. He used to be her best friend. The realization that he had been consumed by greed, becoming a thief that led him to being the Orange Lantern, was uncomfortable. She sat there and juggled the choices in her mind. Did she befriend the Orange Lantern and have her aid in the mission? Or have her best friend die? Another thing that came to her mind was, if they became friends, she'd have someone who understood what it was like being a lantern and all the things that she was going through. Or she could kill her childhood best friend. And there you have it, guys. Red Lantern, Crimson Raid, another chapter. I'm really happy with this chapter because we're finally introducing more of the DC Lanterns. And of course we've got our Orange Lantern as well. Look out for more with the Red Lantern and the Orange Lantern. More is coming. Thank you to Jordan once again for voicing Jordan. It's an absolute blast working with her. She's absolutely awesome. And of course, welcome Psycho Jack to, well, playing Jack. He's a new addition to the Tiger Tales family, as this is his second role. He's had one or two grunts here or there, one or two goons here or there, but this is his first official role, and I can't wait to work with him more. Don't forget to check out the Three Range Bro Studios, myself, with the Tiger Tales channel, and its brother channel, Tiger Tales The Lost Stories, which takes more of a spin on fan fictions, and original storylines, and it's all in first person. We have Mark the Corner Stranger with his podcast, Nerds Through Comics. We then, of course, have Willie, aka Cosplay Dude 67, with his 3 podcasts, Sailor Moon E, Storytime Cosplay Dude 67, and Power Rangers Universe 19, and his YouTube channel, Nostalgia Time. All 4 of them, he uploads all different sorts of stories, all fanfictions and original stories, so go check them out, they're all flipping fantastic. I'm actually a voice actor on both Mark and Willie's stuff, and they're both voice actors for me, so you might want to go check out everyone's content. We're in association with Zero to Hero, the Balkan Scholar Podcasting. Billy and Jim are at it every week, talking about all sorts of stuff, from the nostalgic 90s to toy collecting to Power Rangers to everything in between, and they're a blast to listen to. I also just want to shout out everyone in the Tiger Tales community, all my voice actors, the people I'm working with. Everyone's a blast to work with, and I wouldn't be here without them. That being said, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I shall see you guys next time.